Welcome to Journey to Misery, where I explain complicated comics, characters and concepts to the patient and professionally reflects Helen at heart. I'm Kieran Shiak. How are you doing tonight, Helena?
I'm good.
You ready for another Flash episode?
Another Flash episode. How many are there?
2 more. Well, this one and another one.
Yes, I'm ready.
Unless, depending on how long this one goes, we might add next week's on to the end of this, because next week is going to be short.
Is that 52?
Yeah, it's new 52.
Okay, yeah. I'm ready, I think.
Did you have a nice Christmas?
I did.
Did you miss
It
me?
was okay. I did miss you. It hindered my Christmas.
It hindered your Christmas. Oh.
Did you miss me?
Yes, I missed you, baby.
Good enough.
Yeah. Okay, so today primarily we're talking about a guy called Jeff Johns.
Was he the guy from Justice League?
Yes, same guy. He's currently DC Comics Creative Control Officer.
You didn't like him?
He has his highs and lows.
He's got his problems.
Yeah, but he's an important man in comics because he's still writing comics, but he's the link between DC Comics and DC Entertainment in other media.
So get shit done, basically?
Yeah, like the Flash TV show is because of him.
Oh, okay.
And he's involved with the video games. He's involved with how DC's characters and concepts are represented in TV, film,
Other media.
video. Yeah, so he's a big deal.
He's important.
Yeah, he's been writing for DC Comics for nearly 15 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah, he's wrote the Justice Society, he's wrote Aquaman, he's wrote Superman a whole bunch, he wrote Batman a very little, he's currently writing Justice League, he wrote Green Lantern for ages.
Did it suck?
Highs and lows, highs and lows. Most of the lows were Green Lantern. But today we're talking about his run of The Flash.
Okay.
And it's something I didn't really realise until I reread a bunch of it for this episode, and it may be a controversial statement.
Okay.
I prefer Jeff Johns to Mark Waid on The Flash.
Oh, okay. That is controversial.
Yeah. Mark Waid has a bunch of good stories, like, really good stories.
But Jeff Johns is more consistent.
It's not even more consistent, because Mark Waid's very consistent. It's just Jeff Johns feels more like it's all building towards something.
Oh, okay. Seems like it's actually going somewhere.
Yeah, but stuff like that makes it sound like Mark Waid isn't. Mark Waid is an exceptional writer. Like, one of the best of all time.
I'm sure it's great, but if you prefer Jeff...
Yeah, but I prefer Jeff Johns' work on The Flash. I've got my Jeff Johns Omnibus #1 just next to me, so I just keep, every time I say Jeff Johns, I give it a little pat. So yeah, I wanted to just give you an idea of who Jeff Johns is before we start this episode, because he's a very, very important figure in comic books, and we'll come back to him again and again, because there's another character that Jeff Johns had a big hand in the early 2000s.
Who was it?
I guess.
Was it Hawkman?
It was Hawkman.
Was it Hawkman?
Jeff Johns wrote about 40 issues of Hawkman.
40? There's that many issues of Hawkman.
He was on The Flash for 5 years.
No one's heard of Hawkman.
In comics, Hawkman is... He's... You know, like I told you about the Big Seven of the Justice League?
Yeah.
He's like the next tier. So when you get into like the Green Arrows, and once you get past those 7, he gets like Green Arrow, the Atom, Firestorm.
Okay.
Hawkman's in that second tier.
That's quite important.
Yeah. He's no slouch. Like, he's a prominent DC comic character.
Never heard of this man.
But we're not talking about Hawkman today.
We'll never talk about Hawkman.
We're going to get to Hawkman. It's the 4th episode. We're going to get to Hawkman.
No, we won't.
So, Jeff Johns comes on The Flash in late 90s, early 2000s. His first story, it's alright. It's about the Flash waking up in this alternate mirror world thanks to the Mirror Master. Captain Cold's there. You have to team up to get out. It's very skippable.
Okay, just a gap filler sort of thing.
After that, that's when like the real stuff starts. His ex-girlfriend, Wally West's ex-girlfriend, shows up. She is a lady named Magenta, you can see right there. If you're listening to this, you can go to the image gallery on kingofbus.com, and every time I mention a character and say, look at this, you can click along and look. So what do you make of Magenta?
She's got magenta coloured things on.
What do you think her powers are?
I have absolutely no idea.
Have a look what's going on in the...
She's like magnetic?
Yeah.
Okay. She's the female version of like Magneto.
Yeah, pretty much. Magenta was Wally's high school girlfriend.
Okay.
And he was Kid Flash at the time. And when he found out that his girlfriend had superpowers as well,
I was like, yeah.
He like not pushed her, but like he was a dumb kid, he didn't know any better. He was like, you should be a superhero as well.
Yeah, because that's always a good idea.
Yeah. But every time she uses her powers, the magenta personality comes out.
Yeah. And it's not a good one?
No, she's got I don't want to say any specific disorder, or I don't want to offend anyone or get anything wrong, but she has like another personality who is Magenta when she uses the powers.
An alter ego.
Yeah, Magenta is the supervillain.
Okay, yeah.
So Magenta shows back up, and another one of Wally's exes shows up, who is a woman named Julie.
Okay.
She's a police officer in the Keystone PD, and she gets murdered.
That's nice.
Along with just like a bunch of other people that the Flash had saved.
Okay.
Turns out it's a dude named Cicada. Or Cicada? Like the bug. Cicada.
Cicadas are the worst. Ah! That's really cool.
It's going to be really weird saying Cicada because I always thought Cicada.
I think it's cicada.
Yeah.
I've learnt it as cicada.
Well, you're the zoology expert. I'm going to defer to you. Cicada is a guy who, about 100 years ago, he was hit by lightning, and it gave him the ability to absorb life force from others, which is why he's still alive.
That's awesome.
He believes that because the Flash was given his powers by lightning as well, they're linked, and he started a cult to worship the Flash.
Oh god, calm down.
So he's going around killing it, like, he feels like the Flash is saving people so that they can be sacrificed to Cicada's ultimate goal, which is absorbing a load of life energy to bring back his dead wife.
Okay, so he's doing it for like a good reason.
Yeah. So, and the last person he needs to get the life energy from is the Flash.
Because he's like the head of this cult. Well, like the object of the cult.
So he's got like this like lightning dagger which absorbs like speed force or life force or whatever.
Alright.
Stabs the Flash with it, like transfers the power over to his dead wife, who rises from the grave as some like weird ghost mummy.
That's amazing.
And she is pissed off.
This sounds amazing.
Turns out Cicada murdered her.
What?
Yeah.
And now he feels bad about it, so
Yeah.
he's bringing her back. And she's going to go insane and destroy him.
Yeah. So Flash like defeats Cicada by saying, because the Flash can control his speed force, so he just like like a battery being overloaded with power.
Yeah.
He overloads Cicada with speed force.
And just breaks him.
Yeah. Problem is, Julie had a son
Okay.
that Wally didn't know about.
What?
And the son, like the last page is the son's eyes going all like lightning crackly.
That's really cool.
So Julie's partner shows up, her police partner.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, there's this kid, he's doing this like stuff with his eyes, like with like lightning. I think he might be yours.
The natural assumption.
Yeah. Well, they dated.
Yeah.
And they dated, and now the kid has like weird like lightning aura. But the kid wasn't Wally's.
Whose was it? Was it Cicada?
No, it's the weather wizard.
Oh, of course it was. That damn weather wizard.
Yeah.
He gets around.
So weather wizard shows up and he's like, give me my son, because this kid can control the weather without the use of the weather wand.
Yeah.
I want to know how to do that. I've got this new boss, this mysterious female boss, who's told me all about the fact that I have a son. We're going to cut this kid open and find out what's going on.
Cut him open?
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit far.
Weather Wizard gets hold of the kid and notices that the kid has his brother's eyes.
Okay.
Remember how Weather Wizard is guilty over killing his brother?
Yes.
And that distraction is enough for Wally to...
Right.
Yeah. So Weather Wizard gets sent to Iron Heights.
Is that a high school?
It's a prison.
It sounds like a high school.
Not Iron High. Iron Heights. Iron Heights prison is a prison in Keystone City, and it has a section of the prison for costume villains.
Of course.
And they live in squalor. It's disgusting.
They're in prison.
Yeah, they have to wear the uniform at all times, so that if any guard sees them out of the cell when they're not supposed to be, they go, that's a rogue, shoot on sight.
Wow. Okay.
It's run by a corrupt warden. Well, not corrupt, but overly harsh warden.
Yeah.
And he's got a power where he can make your muscles tense up.
What? Okay.
So I kind of like that. I like the idea that not every superpower is world altering.
Like super magic and
Yeah.
amazing.
There's a lot of stuff in X-Men of characters who can just do very simple stuff with their powers.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that.
They're cooler ones.
Yeah. But all of a sudden people in Iron Heights start dying. The guards start dying.
Okay.
Like choking, like blood just like choking them to death on their own blood.
Okay. Is it Weather Wizard?
It's not a weather wizard.
Who is it?
It's a guy called Murmur.
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 Whoa! He is so cool. That's amazing. He's like a Tim Burton character.
He is. You could definitely see Johnny Depp playing Merman.
Oh, he's amazing. I'm into that.
You're into it?
Not into it in that way. His hair's cool.
Yeah. He's someone that Barry put away ages ago. He's a doctor called Michael Christian Amar.
Okay.
Amar? Mama?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he hates speech. He drives him crazy.
He also lives in like a silent world.
So he cut out his own tongue.
Hence why his mouth's all...
Yeah, he stitched up his mouth. And he created this virus that chokes you with your own blood.
So you die and then you can't talk.
But when they figure out it's him, Jay Garrick, who, as you remember, is a scientist, creates a vaccine and Wally distributes it.
Of course.
Yeah. But one of the best things about Jeff Johns is that it's like best and worst things because he's fascinated with villains.
Yeah.
So when he gets the balance just right, it's really, really good, like in The Flash. But sometimes he gets just
ahead of himself.
He just writes too much about the villains and forgets about the heroes, which is a problem with Justice League as it goes on.
I really like villains though.
Yeah. Well, he introduces a bunch of new villains to The Flash.
Okay.
So there's Fallout.
That's sweet.
And
that's amazing.
During the Iron Heights escapade, Flash finds Fallout tied up like that, powering the prison, like against his will.
Is he? What's he made of?
He's like nuclear.
That's sweet. That's so cool.
So he escapes, and Flash finds him, and he's like, "Dude, are you gonna make me fight you, or can we talk about the Can you trust I'm a superhero who has your best interests at heart?"
Oh.
And the guy goes, "Yeah, okay." So he goes back to prison, but with a new cell that sucks off all the excess radiation without him being tied up to a million cables.
Oh.
There's a few other villains. He introduced loads of villains, but some of the most notable ones. There's a guy called Gerda.
That's cool. He's all metal.
Yeah, he was in the Flash TV show, but in the TV show he just turned metal like Colossus from the X-Men.
Okay.
Rather than being like a big metal dude. And there's a guy called Tar Pit.
Right. Does he melt people?
Yeah, he was the guy who had the power to actually project his consciousness into stuff. He actually projected his consciousness into a big lump of tar and got stuck.
Oh, it's kind of sad.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, but he's like a mob boss's brother. So he wasn't like a good dude. Another cool thing about Jeff Johns' run on The Flash is there's a lot of focus on the police.
Yes.
So there's Shia and Murillo, who are odd couple partners there and all that. And there's a guy called Hunter Zolomon.
Okay.
Who is a criminal profiler specifying in small-time supervillains.
Good job.
So he joins the Keystone Police because the Flash has a lot of those.
They've got a lot of villains going on.
So we get a load of issues that are called rogue profile issues.
Okay.
That are from the rogue's point of view.
Right.
And the best one by far focuses on Captain Cold and his quest for vengeance against the man who murdered his sister.
Okay.
We find out that Captain Cold grew up in a trailer park with an abusive father, but a lovely, talented sister.
Oh.
Captain Cold left as soon as he could, but he left his sister in the trailer park.
Oh no.
He falls in with a bad crowd. He becomes Captain Cold, and his sister shows up as the Golden Glider.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. But they have a falling out, and she steals one of his cold guns and starts dating just a string of bad boyfriends, being like, "Oh yeah, we can be super villains together. You use this gun."
Oh no, it never works out well.
And the last one, they got into an argument, and he murdered her.
Oh.
He's a villain called Chillblaine. So Captain Cold storms this
name.
Chillblaine.
Yeah, I just imagine he was a guy just called Blaine, and then he was just like, you know what, Chillblaine.
So Captain Cold storms do you remember the drug kingpin I just mentioned? Tarpit's brother. He's a guy called the Candyman.
Okay.
He doesn't really come up that much, but Captain Cold storms his hotel that he owns, the Raid.
Yeah.
But with Captain Cold to get to Chillblaine. He gets to the top, and he says to the guy, "Look, I've got no problem with you. I've come here for him."
Yeah.
So the Kingpin goes, "Alright, Chillblaine, if you're as good as you say you are, you'll be able to beat Captain Cold."
But he's not. He's just a guy with a gun.
Yeah, so Captain Cold freezes his skin, but not his insides, so he can still feel pain and stuff.
That's amazing and evil.
Throws him off the building, freezes a bunch of sharp icicles on the floor underneath him.
Oh no! And he's gonna die.
Yeah.
That's dark.
That's where Captain Cold's popularity really came from. That issue.
I feel for him.
Yeah, because it ends with his regular prostitute showing up, being like, "Oh, it's our regular weekly appointment."
Oh no!
And him
Does having a really bad time.
And he like gives her the money anyway, and then says not tonight. And then he sits down and has a cry.
Oh no! Oh, that's really bad for him.
So after this is a story called Crossfire, where a bunch of the new rogues strike on Central City. At the same time, the Thinker, who previously showed up in Jeff Johns' GSA, who's like a digitised intelligence.
Okay.
He's a guy who had this like thinking cap, like this cap that would process information quicker. He died while wearing it, and his consciousness went into the internet.
What?
He takes over the mind of everyone in Keystone City because he needs more processing power.
So he used the internet, which is like a massive thing.
No, he wants people's brains. He like plugs into your brain.
That's really cool.
And what's the fastest processing brain in the world?
The internet.
The Flash.
No, he's just really fast.
Yeah, but he can process. Because to be that fast, you got to process information that fast as well.
Okay, yeah.
Because it'd be no good if you could run that fast, but you couldn't process the information because you just run straight into a building.
Oh, fair enough.
But this is the Thinker.
Oh, it's all that binary.
Yeah.
With like.
Because he's like a hologram.
And he's got like a mask head almost.
Yeah. It looks a bit like Destro from G.I. Joe, if you know who that is.
No, I don't.
Yeah. So the Flash is kind of caught on the bridge between Keystone and Central City, because the new rogue strike on Central City, at the same time the Thinker strikes at Keystone, like just out of the blue.
Yeah.
Like coincidence.
Like, just an accident.
The Flash eventually beats the Thinker by letting him in, and then outthinking him.
Because he's super fast.
Yeah. And he like unravels the Thinker into raw data. But there's still the rogues, and it turns out there's a woman named Blacksmith. This is Blacksmith.
That's cool.
Who she's been running this network for rogues so they can get supplies and all sorts. She's been running it for years, and she's after revenge on her husband, who's a guy called Goldface,
Right.
who's a supervillain turned union leader in Keystone.
Okay. What did he do?
Pardon?
What did he do wrong?
Well, he's like her ex-husband.
It was just a shitty guy.
Yeah, like they just hate each other.
Okay, so there was no real reason for her to be a super villain.
Yeah, well,
She was just like, I just don't have a husband.
well, no, because she was already running like.
Oh, she was already evil?
Yeah, she was already running like a network for rogues, but she became a supervillain.
Okay, she just fell into it.
Yeah.
She's having a bad time.
Mhm.
Casually slipped over the border.
Pretty much. So Mirror Master uses his mirrors to cut off Keystone and Central from the rest of America.
Right.
And she's like, oh well, while we're here, we might as well kill Goldface and the Flash.
Might as well. 2 birds, 1 stone.
Yeah. But it ends up with the Flash kind of beating her as he's wont to do.
Okay, yeah.
She gets stuck on the bridge in between Keystone and Central City, and there's a really cool bit where it looks like she's about to win because Goldface takes off as soon as he can.
Yeah.
And
Obviously.
Yeah, obviously. Well, you think that, but then she's like shouting and she gets like hit in the head with something, and you turn the page and it's just Goldface going, Keystone is a union town.
Oh my
And like
God.
all the blue collar workers, like, you know, like that scene in Spider-Man 1,
Yes.
which a lot of people hate that, you know, where all the people just like throwing stuff at the Green Goblin.
I like that.
I really like that scene as well, and I don't like that movie, but it's kind of like
The
that.
movie sucks.
Yeah, that movie does suck. It's kind of like that where all like the civilians are sticking up for their town.
Yeah.
So she turns around to go to
It's
Central.
nice.
Sorry.
It's nice.
Yeah, it's like it's
a good
a
moment.
sense of community.
Yeah.
That I really like, because she turns around and tries to go to Central, and all the blue collar workers are like waving keyboards and stuff. So she freaks out and she takes down the bridge.
Okay, the whole thing?
Yeah. So the Flash, you can do a thing where he can speed read something and he'll retain the information for a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Like when you cram for a test.
Yeah.
So he speed reads like a load of engineering books and he rebuilds the bridge
That's amazing.
as it's falling apart.
That's the real superhero skill.
So Blacksmith is taken down. Mirror Master, Weather Wizard and Trickster get saved by Captain Cold. Because the good thing about having Captain Cold and Mirror Master working together is as long as you've got Captain Cold around, you've got a reflective surface for the Mirror Master to get away with.
Yeah.
And then that arc kind of finishes with Linda finding out that she's pregnant.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Why does it finish on that?
It's a cliffhanger.
It's a bit random. Like, oh, we built a bridge. Oh, yeah, she's pregnant.
Well, she got like taken over by the Thinker,
Okay.
as did everyone else. So she's having like a checkup to make sure she's okay.
Oh, right, yeah.
She goes to the doctor, like, oh, BT dub.
Oh, yeah. By the way, just a side note.
So after this, Grodd's army of, remember Gorilla Grodd?
Yes,
How
I
can,
do.
how can you forget?
He's a He's a prominent figure in my life.
He's currently in Iron Heights, so like a bunch of gorillas storm the prison to free him.
That's beautiful.
And while this is going on, remember Hunter Zolomon?
I do.
He's visiting the prison, and he's trying to get away with the warden. And there's a cool bit where, like, Zolomon's got a limp, he walks with a crutch. So the warden uses his muscle powers to kind of help Zolomon run.
Ah, that's nice.
So they can get away, but Grodd catches him and he's like, you're a friend of the Flash. Squash.
Oh no.
And he just like pulls him up like an accordion.
Jesus.
But Wally heads to Gorilla City, and with the help of the like King of Gorilla City, they take down Grodd.
King of Gorilla City?
Yeah.
Is he just a gorilla in a crown?
No, he doesn't wear a crown.
What? Missed a trick.
So Hunter Zolomon starts to become an important character. He was an FBI agent and a profiler who worked on low-level supervillain cases with his wife and her father, who was like the king of profiling supervillains. During a routine raid, Hunter was sure the villain they were going after, a guy called the Clown, wouldn't be armed, and it ended with his father-in-law murdered
by the Clown.
By the Clown.
Was armed.
Yeah.
He was wrong. Shouldn't be so presumptuous.
Well, like, it's his job. Like, he got something wrong, but like it's his job to know the profile.
Yeah.
Of a villain. He got shot through the knee, and his wife divorced him.
Because of that?
Yeah. Well, not because he got shot through the knee.
I was going to say, like, this is a bit mean.
No, her dad died because of him.
Okay, yeah. That's understandable. Maybe a bit of a deal breaker.
Yeah. So after being paralysed by Grodd, he becomes obsessed with the cosmic treadmill.
Yep.
Because, like, if I can go back in time, I can change that one thing that ruined my life.
Get my wife back.
Get my wife back, get my father-in-law back.
Not get shot in the knee.
Yeah.
Good times.
So he begs Wally to let him use it, but Wally says that time travel's too dangerous.
He does it all the time.
Yeah. Well, he's a professional.
Yeah, like...
Hunter gets pissed off at Wally, and he's pissed off that Wally's never experienced personal tragedy.
That's nice.
When all of Hunter's life has been tragedy, as he sees it.
Yeah.
So he breaks into the Flash Museum and he tries to work the treadmill, but it explodes.
It's too much for him. It's too much. Can't contain it.
And it shifts him out of the timeline slightly.
Oh.
So he can move through time at any rate he wants, and it gives him the appearance of super speed.
Okay.
He decides he's going to make the Flash better.
Right.
By, like, the Flash can't be a truly great superhero until he's experienced personal tragedy. So he becomes the villain Zoom.
Ah, is he Professor Zoom?
No, he's Zoom.
Why do they need these two people? He's the same as Professor Zoom.
He's got a completely different origin, completely different powers, but
He looks the same.
he does look the same. But whereas Yobard Thorne was to Barry, he's Wally's archenemy.
Okay, yeah.
So he's like, Wally needs an archenemy. Barry had an archenemy. Barry's archenemy killed Barry's wife. Barry experienced personal tragedy. Barry was a great hero. Wally's never experienced personal tragedy. Wally needs a Zoom.
Yeah, because you can't be a hero without being human.
Also,
I guess.
His name is Zolomon, and he rips up some paper and he puts it together so it says Zoom.
Oh, Jesus Christ. It's writing itself. That's amazing.
So he strikes at Linda, and he does this thing where he clicks his fingers and creates a sonic boom.
That's cool. I want that power.
And he does that at Linda, and she miscarries.
What? No! Use your powers for good.
He's a supervillain.
Sort himself out.
Like, his entire thing is for Wally to experience personal tragedy.
So, it makes him miscarry. That's mean.
Yeah, he's a supervillain. Like, I'm not going to defend what he does, but...
Yeah, but there's being a supervillain and there's just being evil. Like,
Yeah.
you can do cool things being a supervillain. Like, burn down a building or something. Come on.
But a side effect of Zoom's powers, where he's like slipping through time all the time, is that windows into time keep opening up around him, showing him like the past and the future, like significant moments. And while he's fighting Wally, one of these windows opens that show him saying he won't have a gun.
Okay.
And while he's distracted, Wally shoves him like face first into it.
Oh, right.
And he describes it as he's like tying a knot in Zoom's timeline.
Yeah.
So he becomes frozen. And there's this really good scene. Zoom's on his knees with his hands behind his head, staring into this window when he gets pushed through it.
Yeah.
And then Wally goes, I won nothing.
Yeah, he didn't really achieve anything, did he?
So there's this really good shot of Wally like facing the other way in like the same pose.
Oh, that's really cool.
Also, bit of a side note, around this time, Bart Allen goes from being Impulse to being the new Kid Flash.
Yep.
And he gets shot through the knee.
Okay, so there's some nice little nod there.
Pardon?
Getting
No,
shot in the knee.
completely separate.
What?
Yeah.
Have they just got a thing for shooting people in knees?
Yeah, I guess.
They can have any other body part.
No, but if you were a supervillain and you had a Flash character...
I guess the ability to run is hindered by being shot in the knee, isn't it?
But while he's recovering, because it only takes him, like, a lot less time to recover.
Yeah, because he's so fast.
Yeah. He reads the entire San Francisco library.
Of course he does. What else would you do with all that time?
And Bart retains the knowledge.
Okay, so it's not just a, like, short-term situation.
Yeah, so Bart, like, has all of this knowledge now.
A ridiculous amount of very specific knowledge.
And he joins the Teen Titans, who we will probably cover at some point. And this is when he joins the Teen Titans when Jeff Johns starts writing the Teen Titans.
So just added him in.
Yeah, well, the classic Teen Titans lineup is like Kid Flash, Robin, Wonder Girl. So this is the new Robin, the new Kid Flash, the new Wonder Girl.
Better versions.
Yeah, plus Cyborg, Starfire, and Beast Boy from the 80s Teen Titans.
Cyborg, Mailman.
Yeah. Plus Superboy.
Who is just Superman as a child.
No, this is the... Do you remember when I told you when Superman died, and then there were 4 Supermen that replaced him?
I think so.
One of them was Superboy.
Oh, okay.
We will cover that at some point.
I want to know about Superman.
Yeah, Superman's my favourite. You know that.
Who's your fave?
Well, him and the Flash.
Is the boy.
Tied. So Wally goes to Barry's memorial, and he's like, "This is too much, because people know I'm the Flash. My wife miscarried our twins. Oh, I didn't say it was twins, did I?
No.
Yeah, it's twins.
That's even worse.
Sorry, I should have said that. So he decides he's quitting, but then Barry shows up.
Okay.
From retirement in the 30th century, and he says this is one of the 3 hardest days in Wally's life, and that Barry's going to be there for all 3 of them.
Barry.
And then Barry calls on the Spectre, who is the vengeance of God.
Yep.
And the Spectre's like, I can make it so that everyone forgets that Wally West was the Flash. And Wally's like, do it. So everyone forgets that Wally West was the Flash.
Poor Wally.
Including
Barry?
Wally.
What? No. He forgets that he's been the Flash and he's just like had a regular life.
Yeah, it's really cool. You turn the page and there's a new artist coming on with the next issue with a really different style. So you turn the page
and it's like
it's the new artist, yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
And it's Wally and Linda talking about like, I wonder where the Flash went.
But what did he think he was doing that whole time?
He's like a police mechanic.
So he's got like reason to believe he wasn't just sat around for however long. Right. So
that happens, Wally remembers he's the Flash, and he reminds Linda like, you're the Flash. Whenever Wally takes off the mask, people like remember how history was.
Yeah.
So he shows Linda, and Linda's like overwhelmed with, I lost my children.
Poor Linda.
Well, no, she knows she lost the children because of the Flash, but she doesn't know that Wally was the Flash.
Oh.
So she takes off.
Of course. I mean, that's only natural, I guess.
Then the JLA come to the Flash and like, we're pretty sure we knew who you were, but none of us know who you are anymore. Yeah. What's going on?
Like, what's up here?
So, with some reluctance, Wally kind of remembers that he has this great network of friends who are there to support him.
Aww.
So he reveals his identity to everyone again. Then John's last big story is called Rogue War.
Okay.
And it's fairly huge because there's loads of different sides playing against each other.
Is it about rogues?
Yeah, because there's the Flash family.
Mhm.
So there's Wally, Bart, Jay, Jesse Quick. There's the Rogues, and then there's a team of good Rogues who have been
like reformed.
Yeah, because it's talking about Pied Piper and the Trickster.
Yes.
But also Heatwave reformed a while ago as well.
Oh, good guy.
So they're all working for the FBI.
Of course.
To take down the Rogues. But then, while like everyone's fighting, the Top shows up.
Right.
And he reveals that ages ago, Barry used the Top's powers to make certain Rogues go good.
Okay.
So the Top takes it all away again. Because there was this story called Identity Crisis. And Identity Crisis is... Chris Sims describes it as the comic that just like broke DC Comics.
Is it terrible?
It's garbage.
It's an absolute piece of fuckery.
Basically, a villain called Dr. Light makes it onto the JLA satellite.
Right.
While all the JLA are out, but Elongated Man's wife is there.
Okay. Look of distress in your face.
Do you know where this is going?
It's just going to be a piece of shit.
Dr. Light rapes Sue Dibney.
What? That's not where I thought this was going.
Mm-hmm. It's
what? This is a comic!
Yeah.
What?
I don't want to spend too long on this. The JLA show up and they use Zatanna, the magic woman, to mind wipe Dr. Light.
Okay.
And then they start doing that more and more to supervillains.
Christ.
So they do it to a few of Flash's villains and it sends Top crazy.
Yeah.
Top gets his sanity back and he takes it back from Pied Piper and Trickster and Heatwave and everyone. So all those guys join back up with the Rogues. Mm-hmm. So there's just the Rogues and the Flash. Meanwhile, all this is going on, Mirror Master keeps teleporting in more and more Flash villains.
Yeah.
Like Dr. Alchemy and Grodd and Wally's getting overwhelmed.
There's a lot going on, like, I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Zoom shows back up, breaks free of his thing. Because his wife, she comes in as the criminal profiler for Keystone after he becomes a supervillain. And there's this whole thing where she's brought in to get some answers out of Captain Boomerang, who died in Identity Crisis, but he can be like resurrected for a short period of time.
Of course.
It's comics.
Well,
the Rogues show up because they want Captain Boomerang back so they can bury him.
Yeah.
And then Zoom shows up to save his wife.
Yeah.
So like Wally and Zoom are fighting the Rogues independently, but then Zoom's like, well, while I'm here, like, just a little personal tragedy.
Yeah, that's well.
Just let me kill Kid Flash while I'm here. He doesn't. Then at that point, the Cosmic Treadmill shows up.
Yeah.
With Jay Garrick chained to the front of it.
Jesus.
And Yobard Thorne.
Professor Zoom.
On the treadmill. So Zoom and Zoom, the Zooms.
Zoom squared.
They drag Wally back in time to witness the tragedy of losing his children again and again and again and again and again.
This is mean. Yeah. This is really mean. This is literally a story about a really fast man. This is dark.
But then, remember what I said about Wally's worst days?
Yeah.
Bart Allen shows up and he drags Professor Zoom back to the past.
Mm-hmm.
So then but it's in the past. You've got past Zoom and past Wally plus current Zoom and current Wally.
Mm-hmm.
Current Wally shoves current Zoom in front of past Zoom's sonic boom.
Christ.
So he takes the brunt of the impact.
Yeah.
Then Zoom tries to escape on the treadmill, but like he's fighting Wally on the treadmill and Zoom falls off into the time stream.
Oh.
Back in the present, Linda, 9 months pregnant.
Yes, Linda.
Gives birth to twins.
Oh, Linda.
She gives birth to twins, a boy and a girl.
I don't know how the twins even are though.
Yeah, well, it's not the Tornado Twins.
Oh, okay, that's how I thought that they might be.
Well, they're kind of like the second, like, they're not officially called the Tornado Twins at any point, I don't think. But, because there's a lot of twins in the Flash family, because Barry's a twin, remember?
Yeah.
And then Barry has twins.
It's a genetic situation.
Yeah. Well, not really, because Wally isn't blood related to Barry.
No, it's not, is he? It's all powers. It's all magic.
So after this, there's a story called Infinite Crisis, which is not Identity Crisis.
No, not the shit show.
Well, it's a separate shit show.
It's a whole new kind of terrible.
Yeah, and in that, all the Flashes are beating up Superboy Prime. Remember Superboy Prime?
Yes.
For most of this episode. And they're beating him up. Barry shows up and helps them drag Superboy Prime into the Speed Force as like a prison.
Fucking Barry.
But all the Flashes have to go into the Speed Force and stay there with him as like his jailers.
Yeah.
So before Wally goes, he shows up to say his goodbye to Linda. But Linda's like, fuck that, coming with you. She grabs the twins, grabs onto him. They're going to the Speed Force.
Right. Bit risky.
Almost immediately after that, Superboy Prime shows back up.
Okay.
But he's been in the Speed Force for a few years.
So he's older.
Yeah. The Flash shows up to kind of warn everyone that he's coming back. And they think it's Wally.
Mm-hmm.
But he takes off his mask and it's Bart.
Okay.
Who's now an adult.
He's grown.
Yeah. So Wally stay behind in the Speed Force.
Mm-hmm.
And Bart takes over as the Flash.
So there's a new Flash now?
Yeah.
Okay. But the others are still existing in the time-space continuum?
Yeah. He's the Flash for about a year's worth of issues, but then he's murdered by the Rogues.
Right.
We've not talked about Bart that much over these episodes, but Bart has like an evil clone.
That's amazing.
Called Inertia.
Right.
And Inertia builds this machine to suck the Speed Force out of Bart.
That's mean.
And to do that...
That's all he's got.
Yeah. The rogues kill him. And it's a really bad story that ignores like 20 years worth of continuity because the rogues don't kill Flashes.
Yeah, like, they exist with each other.
Yeah. But it was editorially driven because there's a story coming up called Salvation Run.
Right.
Where the government goes, we can't deal with all these villains, send them to a planet.
Okay.
So there's this story called...
good solution.
Yeah. There's a story called Salvation Run, which is about this planet where all the villains live.
That's essentially just like bad jails.
Yeah.
Just like, don't reform people, just lock them up.
Mm-hmm.
Just push them away, forget about them.
It was editorially driven just to get the rogues into this miniseries.
Yeah.
But also while this was going on, there was a Justice League, Justice Society crossover called The Lightning Saga,
right,
which brought back the original Legion of Superheroes. Because there have been so many versions of the Legion of Superheroes. they're a complicated mess in themselves.
God.
And the Legion are trying to do something, and they've got this lightning rod, and no one knows what's going on. They do what they're trying to do, and Wally, Linda, and the twins come back. Mm-hmm. And the twins are now like 10.
Yeah, they would have aged.
Mm-hmm. But as Bart's powers were sucked out of him, they went to Wally, which is what gave the rogues the chance to kill him. So Wally takes back over as the Flash and he finds Inertia, and he sucks all of the kinetic energy out of Inertia.
So he can't move?
So he can't move, but he can still think.
He's still like existing, he's just not motile at all.
He's like locked in his own mind.
Oh, that's horrible.
And he places him as a statue in the Flash Museum.
Oh god.
In the Impulse Wing.
Oh wow.
So Wally takes over as the Flash, and he's got two twins who are tweens, and they both have superpowers.
That's pretty cool though.
There they are.
Oh, that's really cool.
So that's Iris and Jay.
Okay.
I believe it's Jay. It's spelled J-A-I.
Yeah, that's Jay.
Yeah. I thought it might be like Jai.
Jay.
Yeah. I always saw it as a nod to Jay Garrick, but also a nod to Linda's Korean heritage.
Yeah, I can see that. That's cute. I like that.
They both have powers, but they access the Speed Force in different ways. Iris can go intangible. Mm-hmm. And Jay can like accelerate the growth of his muscles.
That's really cool. Hence the lights and stuff.
You see how he's all like kind of hench.
And that's slightly terrifying considering he's like a pretty teen.
Yeah. So Mark Waid comes back on because Jeff Johns is gone now.
Jeff's over.
Yeah. Mark Waid comes back on, and it could have been better. It was good.
Didn't hit the ground running.
Oh come on. Even I wouldn't.
I did not make that on purpose.
Yeah, it's good, but it's kind of the epitome of the phrase "you can't go home again."
Okay, yeah.
So a guy called Tom Pryor comes on, and things get really, really fun. And it looks like we're in for like a third great like Flash run.
Yeah.
Like Wally gets a job as an archivist.
That's cool.
So it's like this massive warehouse full of stuff, but because Wally can do things at super speed.
He gets it done really quickly.
Yeah.
Efficient, because archivy is horrible.
Fun?
It's a horrible job.
Yeah. So it looks like it's going really good, but then Tom Pryor gets taken off. There's a really shit arc about some Queen Bee. I can't even remember what her name is. Her name might be Queen Bee. I've not looked it up because
would not surprise me.
It's a terrible arc. It's the last Wally West comic we ever get.
Okay, and they just ended it on a really terrible note.
Yeah. So after this, there's a story called Final Crisis, and in Final Crisis, guess who's back? Back again.
Who's back?
Barry's back.
Tell a friend.
For good. Barry comes back, and it's never really explained within the comic how Barry's back. He just shows up to help defeat Darkseid.
Okay.
And there's also a tie-in series to Final Crisis called The Legion of Three Worlds, which tries to sort out the mess of the Legion of Superheroes.
The fact that they have to make more comics.
Yeah.
Just to solve the shitstorms from before, and then just make it worse.
So in that comic, Kid Flash comes back as Kid Flash.
Right.
And the reason why he came back is it's very comic booky. It's just that he's back now.
He's back because comics.
He was an adult. He's not an adult anymore. He still remembers being an adult. He says it sucked.
So went back to being a kid.
Pretty much.
Because he's got a magic... What's it called?
Yeah.
Magic...
Never mind.
Magic treadmill!
No. There's nothing to do with the treadmill.
It's not? What? Okay.
Yeah, I'm just skipping over it. It's fine. It's like...
Don't worry.
Bart's back. That's what it's. So after this, there's a series called Flash Rebirth.
Right.
Which is...
Here we go.
Which I really like.
Okay.
I might get some stick for that. I know a lot of people don't like it. I think it's a really good encapsulation of the Flash family, which is something because Flash Rebirth is written by Jeff Johns.
Mhm.
And as good as Johns' earlier run on the Flash is, it's very Wally centric, whereas Mark Waid's run on the Flash was very Flash family.
Mhm.
So I really like Flash Rebirth because it's about revitalising the Flash family. So Barry comes back and he's kind of lost. He doesn't feel like he fits in the world. He's uneasy about being back. And you can feel the Speed Force, like, wanting him back.
Yeah.
He's running about, and all of a sudden Saboteur, like, comes out of him.
Whoa! Out!
Like a portal opens up from, like, the lightning bolt on his chest.
Alien shit.
Well, not that visceral.
Yeah, like...
It's like a lightning portal opens up out of Barry.
Whoa.
Because remember, Saboteur got trapped in the Speed Force by Wally.
He did.
Saboteur shows up and he starts running off. Barry, like, recognises him from...
Before?
Well, no, because Barry never met Saboteur.
Okay.
But he did, like, a tour of the Flash Museum to find out what he missed.
Right. Convenient.
And he grabs Saboteur to stop him, and Saboteur turns to dust and dies.
What?
At Barry's touch.
Why?
Barry then turns into the new Black Flash.
Right.
And he's quarantined by the Justice League and the Justice Society in this big machine. And the plan is they're going to use this machine to cut Barry off from the Speed Force. He won't be the Flash anymore, but he won't kill people by touching him.
He won't turn anyone else to dust. Fucking Barry.
So he decides, no, this isn't enough. I need to go back to the Speed Force. I can feel the Speed Force calling me. He runs, and Superman chases after him, and they're keeping up. And Superman goes like, oh, well, you knew I was always as fast as you when we had all those races.
Yeah.
And then Barry just turns to him and he goes, those were for charity. And he fucking bolts off.
Oh, the little shit. That's amazing.
I do love that bit because one thing that's important to me is that the Flash is faster than Superman.
Yeah, he is. Because he's the Flash.
He's the fastest man alive.
He's like hella fast.
Yeah. So he rejoins the Speed Force and he finds Max Mercury and Johnny Quick trapped in the Speed Force.
Right.
They've been unable to make it out of it because they don't have the lightning rod.
Yeah, they're just kind of stuck.
Like, Jay Garrick has Joan, Barry had Iris, Wally has Linda.
Look at their little points in time.
Yeah, like, you know, the whole thing about last week from Love.
Yeah.
Max and Johnny never had anyone.
They don't have a little anchor.
Yeah. So, Barry's like, I need to get you out of here. Then Professor Zoom shows up.
Right.
He kills Johnny.
Of course he does.
And reveals he's the one that brought Barry back.
Okay.
Because at some point in time, after this, Zoom comes back from the dead.
Why?
There's a story called Blackest Night, where, you know, like I told you about all the different Lantern Corps?
Yes.
So Green Lantern is willpower, Red Lantern is rage.
They all have like a different emotion or whatever.
The Black Lanterns are basically zombies.
That sounds amazing.
And that is these guys.
What? They are cool. I like the one with the wings for a face.
Which one?
The one with the wings for a face.
Which one? Point it out to me, baby.
That one.
What, you mean Hawk Girl?
The one with wings for a face.
Yeah, that's Hawkman and that's Hawk Girl.
Hawkman! Hawkman's really cool!
Well, this
Why have you been hiding Hawkman from me?
This is Black Lantern Hawkman. Yeah, we're not going to get into Blackest Night. Blackest Night takes place after Flash Rebirth.
Yeah.
But it's where Professor Zoom comes back to life.
Okay.
But Professor Zoom can travel through time. This is Eobard Thawne, by the way.
Professor Zoom.
Professor Zoom.
My bae.
So he comes back to life and he's like, wait, what happened to Barry? He died a martyr. He died like the greatest hero ever. I'm not happy about that. He brings Barry back thanks to Barry kind of like, Zoom describes it as Barry left the door open.
Right.
During the Superboy Prime incident.
Yes. There's always a loophole.
Yeah. And Professor Zoom has accesses what he calls the negative Speed Force.
Okay.
It's very positive, there must be a negative.
Yeah.
Science. School.
Schooled.
So charging Barry up with this negative speed force is what kills the people.
Okay, right. Makes sense.
Yeah. So Max reveals the truth of the speed force is that when Barry got his powers, the speed force was created at that moment. Throughout time, throughout universes, Barry is the epicenter of the speed force.
But Barry sucks.
But now he's the most important person
no,
to ever
he's
exist.
not. He's still the worst.
Professor Zoom shows up at Wally's house and he messes with Jay and Iris's connection to the speed force.
Their powers?
Yeah.
Oh.
But they get sick. Iris saves Jay by taking it all on.
Oh, that's nice.
But she gets super speed and he gets nothing. Like, he loses his powers.
Oh, not even muscles.
No, because it was kind of like, instead of them both inheriting the super speed, they each inherited like half of the power.
Yeah.
Because it's like an embryo split in half, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is my rationalisation of it.
Like, the genetics just got split into.
Yeah. So Iris takes on all of it to like save them both.
Yeah.
She gets the super speed, but Jay ends up with nothing.
Okay.
Barry frees Max from the speed force, and the Flash family power up for the first time they come together.
That's cool.
And this is what they look like with their new costumes.
They get costumes. Oh, that's cool.
So Liberty Bell goes back to being Jessie Quick. Max is there. Bart gets a slightly new costume. Barry gets his costume fixed. Wally gets a new costume that visually differentiates himself.
He does look different.
So you can just see it on the page. Like, that's Barry and that's Wally. Iris becomes the new Impulse.
That's really cool.
And Jay's there as well.
Jay's there as well.
Well, like Jay's costume.
Yeah.
You're never going to change Jay's costume.
No, he's a classic.
Yeah. So Zoom also reveals that he murdered Barry's mum.
What?
You like in the TV show?
Yeah, he's looking for who murdered his mum, and it was Professor Zoom the whole time.
Yeah. Like retroactive. Like, he describes it as, what if everything bad in your life happened due to an enemy that you'd not met yet?
Okay.
Like, he kills Barry's dog and he shoves like a teenage Barry down some stairs and breaks his arm.
It was all him.
Yeah. And then he goes on to enact the last part of his plan.
Okay,
which is kill Iris before Iris and Barry ever meet.
That's not very nice.
So Barry and Wally go back, they stop him, they rush him into the chamber that was going to disconnect Barry from the Speed Force.
Yeah.
They disconnected him from the Speed Force. Problem solved. But then, after this, there's a point in time where there are two Professor Zooms existing at the same time.
Why?
Because think about it. You got Professor... Okay, after this, Professor Zoom comes back to life at Blackest Night.
Yeah.
Goes back in time to stop Barry.
Yeah.
But then... Do you see what I mean? Like, it's hard to explain.
I sort of know what you mean.
Yeah.
He's existing at 2 points in time rather than there's two of him.
Yeah, there's two. He goes back in time and then gets depowered. So yeah, there's two Zooms for a short period of time.
Okay.
Then this is the rant that I promised you.
Yes, I'm ready.
Because I like Flash Rebirth. I think it's a fun story about the family of the Flash, the community of the Flash, which is what I really like most about the Flash. And it seemed like that's where we were going because we got that really cool picture.
Yeah.
Of like all the Flashes together.
And he thought it was going to be like a good new start.
Yeah, and then the new Flash comic starts.
And it was terrible.
And it's not even that it's terrible. It was okay.
Oh, it's worse.
It's just that it was just Barry.
What?
That's what really pisses me off. Not that Flash Rebirth was bad. Not that the following Flash series was bad. That it was just Barry. When I got really excited for a new Flash series.
But of all of the things, Barry's the worst.
They announced like a new Flash ongoing. They announced a Speed Force ongoing, which would be about like Jay and Wally and Jessie, like alternating stories.
Yeah.
And they announced a Kid Flash ongoing.
Okay.
So I was hyped for like all of this because in Green Lantern Rebirth, Jeff Johns brought back Hal Jordan, but not at the expense of the other Green Lanterns, because there are 4 Earth Green Lanterns.
Yeah.
And when Hal Jordan came back, he was the most important one now. But if you were a fan of Jon Stewart, or if you're a fan of Guy Gardner, or if you're a fan of Kyle Rayner, there was still something there for you, and there still is.
Yeah, like, it's still a thing.
Yeah. Like, at the moment in the New 52, each of those guys has their own book.
Oh, okay.
And it seemed that's the way it was going to go with the Flash. Like, yeah, Barry's back, but
We'll do something with the other guys
Yeah, because we know that they are fans, but then they didn't because they decided to do the New 52. Flashpoint was coming up. So, Barry's the New Flash. There's a story with the Reverse Flash Task Force.
Right.
Which is a team from the 25th century, which is Zoom's home period.
Mm-hmm.
They're a branch of the police from that time, who are all modelled after the Rogues.
Right.
No one's more effective at fighting speedsters than the Rogues.
Yeah.
So they're like reverse Rogues.
That's
so they're Reverse Flash.
That's cool.
And then there's a story with an alternate universe Barry, who drives a motorcycle powered by Speed Force. Sounds cooler than it is. But like I said, at this point, they're already heading into Flashpoint, so it just... it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
He's just given up.
It just doesn't matter because they know it's going to be
They're just
undone.
Storytelling for the sake of storytelling.
Well, it's not for the sake of storytelling. It's storytelling to get to Flashpoint.
Yeah, just to get to an end point.
Yeah, which is where we'll pick up next week.
It's really sad.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So do you see why I'm so angry?
Yeah.
Shaking your head. Yeah. So that's this week's episode of Journey into Misery, which really was a journey into misery, wasn't it? It started out so wonderful.
Why'd you have to ruin a good thing?
They weren't trying. Like, I'm not going to defend them though.
They could have done more of what they had.
It gets worse. It gets worse next week.
Yeah, but it's the New 52. Of course it's going to get worse.
Mm-hmm. We've still got Flashpoint to get through before we get to the New 52.
What's Flashpoint?
Flashpoint is, you know how Crisis on Infinite Earth rebooted everything?
Yes.
Flashpoint is the crisis that reboots everything.
The point in time.
Yeah, it's the story that makes the New 52.
Okay, yeah, right. I'm ready.
You ready? Okay, so that's been this week's episode of Journey to Misery. You know what I want to talk about before we finish?
Okay.
I want to talk about that letter we got, that email.
Oh, yeah!
That was lovely. A fan called Jason, who is at @OneWordLong on Twitter, sent us a really lovely email. I'm not going to read it because it was very long and very lovely.
It was adorable.
It was adorable. Absolutely made our day. We got it on pre-Christmas.
We did get it on pre-Christmas.
We had a day together where because Helena went home, before she went home we had a big Christmas day together, a few days before Christmas. And that just kind of like cherry on top of
it was
really
cute.
Nice day.
What a guy.
So I really want to thank Jason for that. Once again, he's at @OneWordLong on Twitter.
Yes, I believe he is.
If you want to send us an email, whether it's a suggestion, a correction, or even just a lovely little message like that one from Jason, you can send them to journeyintomisery@gmail.com, and we will either read it out, reference it, or something, depending on how long it is. Yeah. So to wrap up, we are on iTunes. You can click the link in the show notes, or just search Journey to Misery in podcasts. If you leave us a rating or a review, or subscribe, any of that stuff really helps more people find the show. I want to give a shout out to our good friend Ben Gully, who left us a lovely review, as has everyone else who's left us a review. We've got 5 stars at the moment.
Yeah.
So thank you to everyone. If you do go to kingimpulse.com, you can find all the show notes for every episode. I try and be as extensive with the show notes as I can. There's lots of links to various Wikipedias and DC Wikipedias and all sorts. You can find out more about specific characters or creators.
And pictures.
There's the image gallery. Thank you, Helena. Make sure you click the image gallery. Probably should have clicked it as the episode started.
Yeah, you maybe should have been following that.
Yeah, but
there we are.
If you didn't, for the future, there is an image gallery, so check that out.
Maybe people already know what they look like.
But yeah, but I don't know. I feel like this podcast it's not just for people who already know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, like people who are also confused.
Yeah. So I am Kieran Shiak. I am at King Impulse on Twitter.
I'm Hector on Twitter and in life.
And you're also Helena Hart.
That's my technical name.
Yes. This has been our Journey into Misery.
My Journey into Misery.
No, I think it's been mine as well today.
Yeah. The emotion is real.
See you guys next week.